What's going on, Rotoballer? Dave here, back again. And folks, I gotta apologize right off the top, okay? Normally I try and bring the positivity to this channel, but today I'm telling you who not to draft, okay? Who to avoid, which landmine to step over in your 2024 drafts. These are my top 3 players whose price tags have gotten too rich for my blood. Now let's kick it off with number 3. It's Zay Flowers. And this one does hurt my heart. I absolutely love the player. So much so, last offseason, I deemed him one of Dave's dudes over on TikTok, which if you're not following us over on the talk, make sure to do so at Rotoballer NFL. But after digging in the stats, I kind of have to pump my love for Flowers. The positives are, it's a great offense, and his nickname is Big Play Zay. So you are going to get some big boom weeks. The problem is, can you predict them? And the bust weeks, yeah, they're going to be plentiful because last season he failed to reach double-digit fantasy points in 10 games. And in 2 of those 10 games, he failed to reach 2 fantasy points. 2. So the floor is shaky at best. And then let's talk about the touchdown upside, okay? Where? How? Okay, you're an offensive coordinator for the Ravens. You're hitting the red zone. Are you going to A, throw it to the touchdown machine Mark Andrews? B, let your MVP take it in, which, oh yeah, he does average 6 rushing tutties a year. C, hand it off to the big dog Derrick Henry, who can score double-digit touchdowns in his sleep. Or D, try and find all 5'9" of Zay Flowers. I mean, come on, folks, what are we doing? We got to face the reality here, and the reality is wide receiver 24 going in the same range as T. Higgins, Amari Cooper, or I prefer an Anthony Richardson, a Dalton Kincaid. Let's all take a breath and say no way to Big Play Zay. Still working on my slogans. They may get better. No promises. We're moving on to number 2. I got a running back for you. How about James Cook? Again, I think the player is extremely talented. But in half PPR, because I still think he's kind of a good pick in full PPR, but in half PPR, where are these TDs going to come from? Maybe they give him some goal line carries, but that would be wishful thinking because last year they gave Cook only 4 carries inside the 5-yard line, and they handed the ball off 11 times to 34-year-old Latavius Murray. Now, they go out, they draft Ray Davis, who is 216 pounds, I think much more primed to take over that role. Now, we talked about the floor with Zay Flowers. James Cook, also a very shaky floor. Failed to reach 8.5 fantasy points in 47% of his games last season. I had another video on Rotoballer talking about Travis Etienne, Isaiah Pacheco, guys that finished inside the top 10 in fantasy points per game last season who are going outside the top 10 in running backs this season. You're getting a discount. But with James Cook, it's literally the opposite, okay? RB19 in fantasy points per game last season. Current price tag, RB14. If he loses some early down work to Ray Davis, he could be a huge bust in 2024. Now, before I hit you with my number 1, you're going to want to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel if you're not already. Okay, my number 1, it absolutely pains me to say. Just kidding. I'm a Bears fan and this guy terrorized us for years. I finally get to talk a little trash about Davante Adams. I mean, not a lot of trash. I still think he's one of the GOATs at wide receiver. But why you should stay away from him this season should be obvious. Let your league mates who draft based on pure name recognition take him in the 2nd round. Not you. You're too smart. You know that Davante Adams is hitting that age cliff. He's turning age 31. And yes, last season he did show signs of decline. He had his yards per target dip to the lowest they've been since 2015. According to Next Gen Stats, he created the least amount of separation of his entire career, and he sported the lowest QBR when targeting him. And yeah, let's talk about those quarterbacks who were going to be targeting him. We're talking Gardner Minshew or AOC. Grosser. You pick. Vegas Sportsbooks thinks that this is going to be one of the run-heaviest offenses, one of the slowest-paced teams, and one of the lowest-scoring teams. I'm looking for the positives, folks, but I'm having trouble finding them for old Davante Adams. Finally feels good to say fade Adams this season. Before I get out of here, I want to know, who are your landmines for 2024? Make sure to throw those in the comments. But until then, I'll see you next time, Rotoballers. Deuces.